In the know, non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
So brutal news for the Vikings here at a time that their season hangs in the balance to a large extent here. They're going to have to move forward without Justin Jefferson. They're going to be leaning more on their first-round draft pick, Jordan Addison, KJ Osborne, TJ Hawkinson, and others to help out Kirk Cousins and try to get the offense going without Justin Jefferson for the next 4 games, Colleen.
Yeah, that's the breaking news today. As you heard from our good friend, former colleague, Tom Pelissero, NFL Network. Excuse me, I'm getting choked up over here. Shouldn't be getting choked up. We should be happy about the opportunity to readjust the roster, right?
Did Tom say brutal news?
I mean, it is.
He said brutal news for the Vikings. Justin Jefferson placed on injured reserve. He will miss at least 4 games. Brutal, sad, devastating news, Judd.
Typical media, just trying to find a negative and a silver lining. I mean, come on. Hold on a second.
We're not waving the flag for an injured player. We're not waving the flag for an injured player.
I agree completely, but I was tempted. But you know what this is? This is a chance for Justin Jefferson to get that hamstring right. Probably take about 6 weeks or more, perhaps.
6 months.
I'd take this as long as you possibly could. This is not brutal news. The season has been brutal. And if this was last year, this would be a devastating blow.
Yeah.
But with the way things are going, I don't think it's like Justin Jefferson has not missed a game, which is, as Cousins said post-game on Sunday, is incredible. Like, he's been an Iron Man, which of course Kirk is too. But if you were ever to pick a season in which Justin Jefferson went down and you're like, okay. And plus it's not a devastating injury, but it's one that has to heal. If this was this time last year, boys, we'd be down in the dauber, rightfully so.
Well,
it's not brutal to me.
I just kind of gauging through reading, social media comments. I think people are very split on this, and we'll talk about both sides of how to push forward here and sort of, where do you want to fall as a fan? Because, to take the words from Tom Pelissero, it is brutal news. If you're trying to come back, if you're looking at this season as, okay, they're 1-4, but every game has been close. If they stop, we keep saying if they stop turning it over, they're moving the ball, all this stuff, right? It's brutal and devastating to lose Justin Jefferson if your mission is push forward, try to claw your way back to 9 or 10 wins and a wild card spot, or hope that the Lions falter, and maybe you can win the division still, right? If you're hoping for, what did we call it yesterday? Capitalizing on the opportunity to readjust your roster to get better starting in 2024, because we don't use the word tank on Purple Daily anymore.
It's unnecessary.
Then you could look at this in a totally different light and say, sucks that he got hurt. Looks like he's not in any grave danger. He just needs to get off that hamstring for a few weeks, and then we'll see what happens. In the meantime, if the Vikings happen to lose a few more games, give themselves a better chance at some better players in the draft. Schefter had a really interesting tweet. We're going to get to all of it. We have a dud stable today, but let's shout out our friends at Underdog Fantasy, which help make watching football a lot more fun this time of year.
That's right, Underdog Fantasy, the best place to play fantasy sports. Our guy Alex, loyal listener and loyal supporter of Underdog Fantasy, sent me this slip on Monday morning, little 5-item slip here. And look, I'm just taking all these different games. He's got a Lions game involved, a Jets game, a Rams game. He's got Stephon Diggs of the Bills. He's got 5-item parlay here. All right, nice little slip for our guy Alex. You can go to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code SCORE, SKOR. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. Plus, they'll give you a free mystery pick'em special, which basically gives you a free leg, essentially, in a pick'em slip for you. So go to Underdog Fantasy, promo code SCORE to join in on the fun.
Also, over at scorenorth.com/shop, you can click on the collectibles wing of our shop, and you can find amazing signed, framed, custom-made items for your man cave, for your office, whatever it may be. Like, for instance, on the YouTube page right now, courtesy of our friends at Universal Sports Auctions. These are all buy it nows, by the way. Harrison Smith, maybe a Hall of Famer in the future. Little Harry the Hitman autographed jersey right there. If you use the promo code SCORE, SKOR, at checkout, you can get 10% off anything site-wide at scorenorth.com/shop collectibles is what you want to click on. And so the Jefferson one-handed catch against the Bills last year, framed, signed, That's been the hottest seller so far. But let us know if you pick something up. Send us a picture of it, and we'd love to see it. ScoreNorth.com/shop. Click on collectibles. So I'll throw the Adam Schefter tweet out here, and then we can get into the conversation. Schefter says, here's another unspoken issue that could potentially lengthen Justin Jefferson's absence. If the Vikings don't win games and stay competitive, what is Jefferson's incentive to rush back when he did not land the contract he wanted in the summer? His absence could last longer than expected. Guys like Schefter don't just tweet stuff on a whim. This feels like something that would have come from like Jefferson's camp or from maybe a discussion earlier in the offseason or something. He's not just throwing this out there. If the Vikings are 2-7 or something when he comes back, why risk like having your ACL at risk or something? I think he's insinuating if the Vikings don't win, Jefferson might not play again this season. Am I interpreting this wrong?
Okay. So first of all, I think he got this from the agent for Justin Jefferson. I think Schefter though, I'll explain this. I think he's a little bit over his skis on this one in a schism sort of way. I think he's reading the room wrong. Because this implies that Jefferson might be like, whoa, I ain't playing. And the Vikings are like, but please play. We've won 3 games. Please play. This is one where, quite frankly, especially with a GM now who is not an old school football guy who likes to chew tobacco, spit on the sideline and break down film, but with a new thinking front office, let me tell you something. I grew up watching Gale Sayers. With a new front office and their thought process, it's my opinion that Schefter's right, but it's also my opinion everybody should be on the same page here. If the Vikings don't win, why are you going to bring him back? And you might bring him back. And here's the one. So here's where I think Schefter, though, is flawed. I don't think Justin Jefferson is ever going to say, I don't want to play. I think his camp is going to tell him, be very careful.
I agree.
I think the Vikings are going to say, dude, we've won 3 games. Let's hold you out till December.
That dude wants to play. He did not sit out a day of training camp. That dude is competitive. He's a team guy. Totally agree.
And just because I, in particular, but this show certainly likes to go with the potential conspiratorial theories about what might be taking place. I do think it's very important that we all make it very clear. We do not think Justin Jefferson is going to purposely shut it down. It's not how he acts. It never has been. But would his camp and would the Vikings say, okay, man, 4 weeks is good, but you know what? You probably need more. Yeah, but I think they're going to be on the same page here. Yeah. I don't think Schefter's tweet to me implies that the Vikings would be like saying, please come back. And he'd be saying, no, I won't come back. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think what's going to be the issue is keeping him off the field once he's eligible to return, because his nature is to play. To your point, he took part in training camp every single day. And with how the season is trending, it might be best to just let this play out again into November, if not December.
So in the trade deadline's in 3 weeks, which is another interesting sort of fork in the road here. So let me lay this out and then ask you guys a really important question. There are people in that building right now. Kevin O'Connell is at the top of this list. Players, right, that want to win games. They're in the middle of a season right now. They had the ball with under a minute left with a chance to go and beat the Chiefs. They've had 1 possession losses, one after another, a year after going 11-0 in 1 possession games. This team led by Kevin O'Connell, despite being 1-4, I'm 100% certain believes they can still make a run. They're looking at the schedule and saying, we have 6 division games in front of us. We feel like all of them are winnable. We feel like any game on our schedule, except maybe even internally, San Francisco, they might be like, But every other game we feel like is winnable. We feel like we won 13 games last year. We can beat anyone in the league. The offensive line is better than it was last year. Like if you're in the grind, you're a player, you're a coach, you want to win football games. If you zoom out to 30,000 feet, you look and you say, we're 1-4. Doesn't matter how we got here. Like it's a hole. It's a 1-4 hole. And then the Niners are on the schedule in 2 weeks from now. The Bears might not be the greatest team ever, but it's a division game at Soldier Field against a team that has 3 extra days rest, an offense that's been clicking, and they're going to be honoring one of the greatest players of all time in Chicago Bears history, and he passed away, Dick Butkus. Like, there's a lot of reasons to think the Bears. Oh, and Justin Jefferson's not playing. Like, there's a lot of reasons to think the Bears are going to win that game. Then you get Niners. Short week after Niners on the road, Packers. Teams that play the 49ers almost always lose the next week, and it's a short week. And then at Falcons, your third road game in 4 weeks. Falcons are 3-2. Falcons have the 11th best net yards per play in the NFL. That's an underrated sleeper team. 30,000 feet, front office, detached, right? Trade deadline in 3 weeks. Danielle Hunter's a free agent after the season. Harrison Smith is 34, 35 years old. Kirk Cousins is a free agent after the season. He has a no trade clause. KJ Osborne's a free agent after the season.
Yep.
Like, what should the discussion be internally right now as they're surveying this landscape without Justin Jefferson?
Well, I think my discussion with O'Connell is, and he would agree with this. So I agree. He does not want to lose. But I think the simple discussion with O'Connell is Justin Jefferson has a hamstring. There's no good way for a wide receiver to handle that.
Yeah.
There's no, this does not end well if we get cute. This only ends well if, and because the Vikings, I feel like there's this prevailing theory among some fans that Jefferson is going to now try and force his way out. Like, I don't see that at all. I know what your fear is. You
like, if they trade Kirk especially, then he's going to be like, whoa.
But I mean, there's this whole fear of, well, the Vikings aren't good now, and now he's going to one out. And then to your point, if Kirk's gone, he's going to one out. And I think we're trying very hard. And believe me, if this was true, I'd be the first guy to jump on this. I think we're trying very hard to make Justin Jefferson a recalcitrant, like a wide receiver, like what Diggs unfortunately turned into.
Moss was.
Carter
was. Yeah.
And Carter was too. But my point is, I haven't seen it. Like, there's nothing I've seen from him that says, you know what, bad teammate. Yeah, he's becoming a pain. He's going down that path. So until I see something different, it's my opinion that Justin Jefferson is going to get the contract that he wants from the Vikings.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, the conversation among the front office has to be protecting this asset is the most important thing that we can do. Our season is 1-4. You can call it luck. You could say, like Dex, and I agree with Declan, it's not luck. We have played, like, we've lost close games, but we have lost those games. 3 of them have been our fault. And so I think the front office conversation has to be, what is the opportunity in front of us here? And I'm not being a smartass, what is the opportunity to protect Justin Jefferson? What is the opportunity that if we can get a high draft pick, not because we're trying to lose, but because one of our best players is out. Your defense is improved, but it's certainly not great. Your offense is, to me, underwhelming from what you expected. And this also provides you another ancillary benefit, possibly twofold, is this. One, immediately, it puts Jordan Addison in the number 1 spot, which I absolutely love.
Test him out. See what he's got.
And by the way, he's done nothing to me other than his trouble with blocking. He's done nothing to me to say, oh, I think they missed on that pick. Like, I watch him play his position and catch the ball in stride and make plays. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that looks like a hell of a pick. But the other thing, too, is eventually, guess what? If you make some trades, you can start to test other guys out. Now, I know Brian Flores might not love this, but you know what I'd really like to see? To your point, Phil, if Harrison Smith, who's coming off a great game followed by a bad game, if Harrison Smith gets traded, Lewis Cine can play a little bit. Okay, let's find out. Because you know what? If he can't play, I don't think he's back next year.
I'd like to know now. Yeah.
Right, that's my point. But my point is, if you're the front office, I think you can privately have a discussion that isn't about opportunity to what do we do for the future of this team. Is it so bad if for a year the competitive rebuild just becomes sort of a rebuild?
And there's also, like, here's another thing, because I've thought a lot about this tanking thing, and I hate the word tank we use it because there's just like not another word that you can quickly say, right? But I like that,
Right.
and this is credit to Judd here.
Yep.
I like that we are essentially banning the word tank from Purple Daily, because I do agree with the notion that if you fall into the trap of just, and it's like it's never the team and the coaches that tank, it's the front office that just strips it down and puts a crappy quarterback in place, and you see it all the time. The Texans do it. I feel like the Browns and Lions try to win, but historically just can't. I feel like the Vikings, there is value in trying to do what the Steelers do, what some of these other franchises do, which is keep pushing forward, keep trying to be relevant, keep trying to be competitive, beat your division opponents, and wherever the draft chips fall, they fall. But once in a while, even for great franchises, look at the San Antonio Spurs, the Indianapolis Colts during a great 20-25 year run, right? There are times where a really competitive, good, well-run franchise just hits a crappy year of injury, bad luck, games that go awry, right? The San Antonio Spurs were really competitive for a long time, and then David Robinson broke his foot or something in 1997, and they had a couple other things go wrong, and they just kind of, what are you supposed to do? We're gonna run a hobbled David Robinson out there? I don't know. Let's just lean into it for 1 year. Boom. They win the lottery. Tim Duncan comes in and changes their franchise, and they become a dynasty, right? We've seen it before, too, with the Colts, like I said, where, okay, great run with Peyton Manning. Oh, man, his neck is all effed up. Let's just kind of lean into it for a minute, Let's just kind of see what happens. We still believe in our franchise. We still think that we're going to be competitive in the long run, but it would be nice to just sort of take a step back here for a minute. Let's not be stupid about this. Let's see what we got with some young players. And then, oh, hey, Andrew Luck is here. And then they kind of fumbled the Andrew Luck era, but they did win 11 games multiple times, had some playoff wins, whatever. It doesn't have to be that you're going to tank like a garbage franchise. What if it's just this is not their year to push forward? Their best player is going to be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks or more. And the smart thing to do would be take a deep breath, take a step back, get some assets for some of these players that have expiring contracts.
Yes.
You're not tanking per se. You're just loading up on assets to build more for 2024. That's kind of the way that I'm choosing to view the opportunity that's in front of them here.
And sometimes things happen in football where good teams take a step back. 2020, the 49ers took a significant step back, right? They lost Jimmy G to a broken foot, I believe it was, early. They had to start Nick Mullins for a bunch of games. They only win 6. And now all of a sudden, here they are. 3 years later, they've been to the NFC Championship game, twice in that span. And now
Nick
they finally
Mullins
found their
did
pieces.
his job that season, by the way. He did his damn job. He's hurt now, I guess, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah, he hurt
That's
his
another
back.
thing.
I have no idea how.
That's another thing. But sometimes that just happens to football teams where they take a significant step back. But I think Kwesi wouldn't be doing his job if he wasn't trying to at least letting the Wilfs and letting the rest of the organization know, especially if this tailspin's going deeper and deeper into the ground, that, hey, we're not going to be able to dig ourselves out. And we have to kind of evaluate things as a stock market type of dude and figure out what assets do we have that can actually bring us more value in the future seasons.
Yeah. And so to that point that Declan just made about, okay, you're evaluating the NFL market right now. You're evaluating your own stock and sort of where things fall right now. According to ESPN's Football Power Index.
Football.
That's right. I said ESPN's Football Power Index.
Power.
Yeah.
The Vikings, because of the way that they've lost these games, are not viewed in the same way as some of the other 1-4 teams. So, the Panthers are 0-5. They're projected to win 4 games. The Cardinals are projected to win 4 games. The Giants, Broncos, and Patriots are all 1-4. They're projected to win 5 games. There's a couple other teams in here too, the Bears are 1-4, 6 games. The Vikings are still projected to win 7.5 games, according to the ESPN Football Power Index.
Is that with Jefferson out?
I don't know if that takes into account Jefferson in or out. It might move the line by a win. I don't think it would move it by. I think sometimes we overvalue non-quarterbacks, but Jefferson would move it for sure.
Yeah.
But let's say that even without Jefferson, they could still find a way with just a good quarterback and some other weapons and whatever, and a defense that's doing some things to win 6 or 7 games. Would you rather? What's the best, most prudent thing to happen if you're the Vikings right now? to grind your way to 7 or 8 wins, not trade Danielle Hunter for anything, not trade Kirk Cousins for anything. These guys go elsewhere. You get nothing back, and you get like a comp pick 2 years from now, right? Or you lean into it a little bit. You pick up an extra first or second round pick or more. Maybe you win 5 games instead of 7 games, or 5 games instead of 8 games. What's the difference at this point between winning 4 games and set? You're not winning 11. You mathematically can't win 13, unless you run the table, right? So I just I know that there's emotions involved here, and there's competitive people involved here, but it almost feels like organizational malpractice if you don't lean into the opportunity at this point to put some chips on the table for 2024 and beyond.
That doesn't mean that Kevin O'Connell and the team, though, aren't going to try. And guess what?
Yeah,
if I
go try
to
win with the pieces you have,
and they win some games, if Jordan Addison goes off, okay, that's great.
Yep.
So this is not that's the difference. That's why tanking is such a weird word, because tanking implies in my opinion, implies an organizational embracing of trying to lose. This is not going to happen, but let's say you trade Harrison Smith and Cine is allowed to step in. I don't think he would be, but let's just say he was, and he plays
Theo Jackson steps in,
and he's my guy. But anyway, but the point is, if they can win, okay, good for them.
Yeah.
But if you can trade Osborne and you can trade Danielle, as long as if you're like Danielle ain't coming back, I think trading Cousins is going to be difficult because of his no trade clause. But you know what? Here's one. Because it makes no sense. And in fact, I was tweeting with a person about this morning. The Dalton Reisner signing right now makes 0 sense. I wonder if they're going to try and move Cleveland. Because right now, the signing makes no sense. Why did you sign this guy if you weren't going to play? We're now, 3 weeks in?
Yeah, there's teams out there that, offensive linemen go down on a regular basis.
You always need offensive linemen.
Agent.
And before you laugh and say, their offensive line sucks, number one, it does not suck at all. It's actually in the top half of the league. And second of all, before you say, Ezra Cleveland really sucks, no, he does some things well. And there are some teams that would take him at guard tomorrow.
And if your options are, hey, our starting guard is out for the rest of the season or whatever, and we'd have to go look and see where the opportunities are here. Opportunities, that's right, the opportunities.
I think Cleveland needs guard help.
Oh, like the Browns. I was
the Browns, like you could deal him to Stefanski.
Yeah.
Crazy tight end.
So it's and to your point too about, let's take the word tanking out of it here. If they were to do the prudent thing, which is, hey, let's go get 3 extra draft picks. Maybe one of them can be a second. Let's get some ammunition so that if there's an edge rusher we love for the future or a quarterback of the future that we love, we can package some stuff. We can go be aggressive and get our guy, right? There's also a whole nother conversation. I can hear Vikings fans, Purple Day listeners screaming at us that I don't trust the front office to. That's a separate. Get the capital first, and then we can have the discussion about.
Right.
Don't compound your feeling with a mistake, right? I don't trust Kwesi, therefore I'm going to push forward, bang my head against a wall, and win 7 games and get nothing for these guys. Right. Get the assets first, right? But once you get the assets, if this team with I don't know, Nick Mullins or Jaron Hall were to win a couple games they weren't supposed to, I wouldn't even be mad because it would show me, wow, okay, there's some pieces here. Jordan Addison going off. There's some guys on defense. Okay, so they don't have the number 1 overall pick, but they have some extra assets. They have a top 7 pick or something, and this team shows fight, right? There is still a positive outcome here leading into 2024. So I think I see our guy who just maybe popped into the virtual room here. It's good timing to bring on Randy in Cottage Grove, Randy Vikes 69 on Twitter.
Thank you.
He is the most passionate, studied Vikings fan we know. I will say too, okay, so we pump your tires because you are a man who studies the NFL draft, and you have correctly predicted multiple Vikings draft picks on our show. And last year, if you guys remember, 2 years ago, Randy came on with his final mock draft and said the Vikings should draft Brock Purdy on day 3.
Yeah, 7th round. They had him going to us in the 7th.
Look at that. People laughed at Randy 2 years ago. Who's laughing now after
Stud.
Brock Purdy has started 10-0 in his career, Randy?
He's a stud. I mean, he's got a lot of times you can't. There's what they call the intangibles, things you can't teach. You look at him on. They like to measure guys. Like get a sense of everybody's length and whatnot. Now, he may not have all those measurables, but he definitely he's got a. What you can't measure? Heart.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of moxie. That was a steal of the draft for and then the 49ers now can play with a cheap ass quarterback and put the money elsewhere. That's the name of the game in the league, as they call it.
Yeah, it is, man. So how do you feel before we get to your stable here, your dud stable? So the Vikings are 1-4. Justin Jefferson injured reserve. He's out for at least 4 weeks. The people are kind of down here in Vikingsville. So where's your demeanor at today, Randy?
Nah, it's not good. But I'm it really chaps my ass that I go to the bar and there are people that want to talk more about baseball, and it's come on, this is football season. We should be loud. We should be rowdy.
I mean, but the Twins are the Twins. They're making a run here, man. It might be a fun little sort of distraction for you. Yeah.
Softball's a different game than baseball. The whole strategies are fairly different, but the point is this is football season. The leaves start to change. Everybody gets good and rowdy and lubed up and throws on a couple. And the reality is you need people to get rowdy and loud, and they're not. They're distracted. They're not focused on what's going on, and it's a bummer.
Yeah. Are you blaming the fans for these problems? Sounds like you're blaming the fans as much as the team.
A lot of them. You've seen they're not as loud as they were last year.
They sold their. I mean, half the fans sold their tickets to Chiefs fans. We don't. Listen. We like to elevate fans on this show. We don't like to to browbeat on fans. But I mean, half the fans did sell their tickets to the Chiefs fans. I will just say that. Okay.
This is the reality is at 1-4. It's getting to be it's getting late in a hurry, as they say, and it might be time to make some tough calls. Might be time to get Mr. Pizza Ranch. See if there's a Pizza Ranch in another city.
Maybe in New York or in Atlanta.
I think he's done with those
San Francisco's ship has sailed. Is he done as a Pizza Ranch endorser?
I don't think he's been a Pizza Ranch guy for 2 years. And his friend, Kevin.
Kevin was his friend.
I've never seen him with him since. He and Kevin must have had a falling out.
I think Kevin is Kirk's bodywork guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
No?
Probably.
Not sure. Getting a deep tissue massage and housing some Pizza Ranch on a Tuesday. Let's go. Sorry, not on a Tuesday.
Go ahead and massage it all you want somewhere else. We got to get something back, and the longer we wait, the less of a return it's going to be, and that goes for a lot of these veterans. Anybody want Harrison Smith? Go ahead, take him.
Oh man, it's kind of feels like the end of an era here with the way this is shaping up. So, every week you give your stable. If they win, it's a stud stable.
Not a lot of those so far.
No, just one since like the first week in January. So today it'll be another dud stable from our guy, Randy Vikes 69 on Twitter, Randy in Cottage Grove. So, sir, the floor is yours.
This is another dud stable. Unfortunately, the fourth one in 5 weeks. And the way that Justin Fields was, as they say, balling out last week, could be another one next week. Who knows?
Oh, man.
So we'll start off with a guy who did nothing, absolutely nothing to prepare his team for this game. No interesting looks. You're going up against the guy the kids call PFM, Patrick F. Mahomes. That's what they call him, and you got to have some tricks up your sleeve. You can't just play a straight ahead game. You got to keep them guessing, keep them on their toes. He didn't do it. Came in pretty vanilla game plan, almost like he wants this season to be a rebuild. Well, come out and say it publicly, and then maybe we'll change our tune. But right now, looks like you're lost. You're lost, and for that reason, you're a dud. KOC, you're a dud.
God, man. I mean, they did run a fake punt and a jet sweep to was it Powell, right? Ran the jet sweep.
Powell, yeah. I mean, that's pretty harsh.
We want a flea flicker. We like flea flickers. We like putting people in motion. You know, they roll Mahomes out and do direct snaps. Can't you do that with Kirko?
The Bengals ran a flea flicker on Sunday. I saw. It
Can't
didn't
you put
work. but-
Kirko out? Can't you, KOC, put Kirko out to run him out wide and direct snap it to Madison?
No, Randy. I think that's a terrible idea.
Next up in the stable, speaking of terrible ideas, here was a terrible idea trading for this guy because he's banged up all the time and he can't, give him a big money deal. He's making more money than Mr. Taylor Swift's guy, and now he can't even play half the game. And Kelsey got hurt, came back in and rocked. He rocked. Well, not Mr. Flo, Mr. TJ, gets his cash and then just sort of cashes out. So TJ Hawkinson, you're back in here. You're a dud.
I think it was our guy Alec Lewis from The Athletic put out the little all 22 highlight reel, low light reel of TJ Hawkinson's 3, call them drops, call them what you will. All 3 of those hit him in both hands. Very tight window, tight area plays. But if you're going to be the highest paid tight end, going to need to catch 1 or 2 of those once in a while. Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, you may not have been the main problem, but when you got a shot at the end of the game, another one of these one score games, and you have one job, that's put the rock in the end zone and hope and pray. That's what Aaron Rodgers used to be pretty good at that. Mm-hmm. Throw it up late. He never did pee down his leg and take a sack.
Wow,
pee down his leg and take another sack. When the lights get brightest, that's when he clenches his teeth the hardest, and he loses he's not a primetime player. He's not a primetime player, and if somebody wants to take him for the rest of this year and nurse him, let all the Cousins guys go cheer for that team, because I'm no longer snug over him, and I don't know if I ever will be again. Kirk Cousins, you're a dud.
Oh. Wow.
And finally, this guy's a guy I don't think he's ever been in this Dud stable, and it's very difficult to put him in there, but maybe it's a little bit of a wake-up call. Maybe instead of doing all the flashy, the razzle-dazzle outfits coming in pre-game, post-game, maybe there needs to be a little more stretching, a little more, as they say, flex work and yoga. Maybe try yoga.
Can't believe you're doing this right now.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Can't believe you're about to do this.
Excuse me.
Are you sure that you want to pull the trigger on this one?
Excuse me. Maybe there's a thing called yoga where you stretch and listen to light, relaxing music, and the lights get dim and everybody just kind of calms down, and that might help. But right now, right now you want to get a big time contract. You want to set records. You want to win a Super Bowl. Maybe that starts by having a big time flexibility in your hamstrings, Justin Jefferson, because right now you're going to be on the shelf. That ain't going to help us. So when you come back, you might see a very different team. Maybe a very different quarterback. You got a few weeks to think about it. You got a few weeks to, as they say, roll it out, ice it down and look in the mirror and decide what you want to be. Do you want to be a stud or do you want to be a dud? Because right now, Justin Jefferson, you're a dud.
Wow.
Oh my God. I
think he's gone. Looks
you
like
can't
he's
put
gone
the genie
from
back in the bottle on that one.
Did he just suggest? Did he just suggest that Justin Jefferson doesn't do enough yoga and stretching?
He just took 5 shots at Justin. How he arrived at the stadium.
You said the thing called yoga, where you listen to calming music, get your mind and hamstrings.
He also blamed fans for being too focused on the Twins.
Keep your eye on the ball, man. The ball is Vikings. I think he also he said something about Kirk not being the main problem, but still being a dud.
Yeah.
That encapsulates. We've had this argument all the time with the Cousins Crusaders. It's like, well, you're blaming Kirk. It's not Kirk's fault. Not Kirk's fault. I feel like if there was a headline for Kirk Cousins' Vikings career, 6 years, it would be never the main problem. That's the best thing you can say about Kirk Cousins and his NFL career and Vikings career, is that he's never the main problem. You guys there's other problems over here. Okay, let me take you over here. Look, this problem over here. Look at that problem over there. Kirk's not the main problem. He's not a problem. Okay. Put it on a banner and hang it inside the stadium.
But the problem is this. It's gotten to be such a polarizing
Problem's not Kirk.
topic that we can't have conversations about the fact that, like, and I saw fans lashed out about this, the Crusaders did on Twitter. So Kirk's timing, which Kirk admitted on Sunday, was off. The throws to Hawkinson, at least 2 of the 3 that you referenced that Alec tweeted out, should have been caught. At least 2 of the 3, if not all 3. And the conversation should have been, what was up with the timing on Sunday? Go back and watch it. And in real time, it looked weird, but I heard a lot of definite opinions, which were wrong. The KJ Osborne pass in the end zone, okay, is one of the most bizarre plays I've ever seen. And to say that's all on KJ or all on Kirk, one, I think it's on both of them. But we can't even have a good conversation about what the hell broke down, because it turns into it's all Kirk's fault.
You're blaming Kirk.
Or it's all Kirk's fault. Like, there's no conversation about, okay, what happened there? Like, that pass play, there's no definition. I have no idea what took place, but the timing and KJ ducking down, it's all very, very weird. But instead of finding out or having a conversation about what really happened there, it's either all Kirk's fault and Kirk sucks, or how dare you blame Kirk? KJ Osborne just sucks.
Yeah, it's people are just tense right now too in Vikings land.
But I want to know what happened there. I want to know what happened. I think the Hawkinson thing, I'm convinced all of this goes back to training camp reps.
It just isn't settled in, isn't comfortable. Yeah, he didn't catch a pass in 11-on-11 for a month.
He didn't even participate.
Yeah. So he essentially went 9 months without playing football because they didn't really do like full padded stuff, and don't give me OTAs and mini camps. Full padded 11-on-11, the scrimmages, right? He didn't get any of that. He basically went 9 months from January until week 1 without any meaningful football.
Yes, which I think has shown itself in the tipped pass against the Chargers, which, by the way, again came down to it's either all on Kirk or nothing on Kirk.
Yeah.
And not what was TJ's role and how can we talk about this? That's the thing that I do think, though, that when you go from the Giants game to opening day, and now this guy is getting paid and there's zero timing, like, that's not a fluke. That's not an accident.
Yeah. Boy, after all this conversation, I need a beer. I need a cold one, Judd. What should I drink?
Well, you know what? Despite the fact that the season is trending in the wrong way, the mission of Purple Daily, the mission of our friends at Surly Brewing, it is trending the right way always, and it's before I die. You know what? In fact, here's the thing. Enjoy a crisp, refreshing, easy to drink Before I Die this year with your eye on the prize, your eye on the draft, your eye on the future. That is how you could enjoy the official beer, really, of our show, the official phrasing of our show, and our partners at Surly Brewing have just the beverage for you. So if you need to, you can enjoy a great beer with Before I Die.
If you're a dog who's not old enough to drink beer, what could you consume? How about Nutrisource? Chicken and rice is what Maya likes to drink. You know, we always tell Maya, someday when you're 21, you might be able to have one of those Before I Die lagers.
Stella's drinking right now. Are you kidding? She's like 80.
Yeah,
she's 12 though. She's like still 9 years away from being old enough, right?
Phil, I was busting Judge chops. I saw last Sunday night Stella was like in the was at the Red Cow in North Loop on a Sunday evening with her mom.
Her friend Ryder on a date. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I've lost control of the house.
Do they have IDs that tell you how old they are in like dog
years? She's like 80.
Take a
She's an old gal. But look at that. You know what keeps her young, though? If you love your dog as much as I love mine, what keeps her young, Nutrisource, and in this case, the training rewards treat. The Vinster, much younger, but I'm sure he enjoys them just as much.
Yeah, he's a little spry. You know, he likes his Capri Suns, if you will. You know, he's drinking responsibly, but he likes his Nutrisource treats the most, of course. All right, so he gets his Nutrisource treats, whether he's coming inside from a potty break or just pawing at dad saying, all right, peasant, get up and give me some Nutrisource.
Yeah. NutrisourcePetFoods.com, the official dog food and pet food of Purple Daily and Score North. Hey, you know, I don't know if it'll work with dogs, but if you're a human who's looking to shed a few pounds here, Judd can tell you about the fine folks at Livia and the great work that they do helping people get to their goal weights.
They do a fantastic job. That's me. A couple of years ago, they helped me drop 40 pounds. And the most important thing is they're going to help you drop the weight, and they're going to help you keep the weight off. This is not a diet. This is not a quick fix. What this is it's a lifestyle change that I like to say doesn't stop you from leading your life. It only gets you to a good place. And right now, have I got an offer for you? It's short term, so listen up. It started on Monday. It will run through Saturday, October 14th. And we are calling it Livia Days. I've been talking for a while now about 3 months free. Through Saturday or until Saturday. Join now, 6 months free.
Whoa.
That's right. 6 months for free. I mean, if you have been procrastinating, and we all do, and saying, I like the message, but I'll do it later. Later has arrived today. Livia, 6 months for free. 855-GO LIVEA, Livia.com, LIVEA.com. And if you are a PD fan outside the state, guess what? It doesn't matter. The whole thing can be done virtually. What isn't going to change is that if you join now and then through Saturday, you're going to get 6 months for free. Imagine that. Imagine all of the pounds that you will lose in that time. You'll feel great.
All right, let's jump into our pigskin pecking order here. We'll pop this up for the YouTube audience. So every week, we all three go into our labs and we rank the 10 best teams in the National Football League, and we rank where the Vikings are too. And then we put it into a blender and it spits out an aggregate. So these are the top 10 teams in the NFL according to us. Starting with number 1, the San Francisco 49ers. I believe all of us now have the San Francisco 49ers as the number 1 team in the NFL. Brock Purdy, I think Declan was on this more than us. He is really good.
He's a dog. He's good.
It's not just a system thing with him. Like, the system helps and the weapons help and the car is great. A lot of quarterbacks could drive that car pretty well.
Right.
He's going above and beyond just like a passenger in the car. He's a really good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So 49ers number 1. I believe we all had consensus Kansas City Chiefs as the number 2 team in our pigskin pecking order, followed by the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to lay out the top 5 because we had some dissension here. Dolphins, I forgot to change that number. Dolphins are 4, and the Bills are 5. So I had the Dolphins the highest at 3. I put them in front of the Eagles. You guys each had the same 1 through 4. And then Judd and I have the Bills 5. Declan, you have them flipped with the Lions. So Judd, you and I, everything's pretty similar 1 through 6 here. Lions at 6. We all think the Lions are a top 6 team right now. Mm-hmm. Then we go Ravens at 7, Cowboys still at 8, and then tied for 9 and 10, the Seahawks and the Jacksonville Jaguars finally getting their act together a little bit. So there's your 1 through 10. I'll give you some honorable mentions here. Teams that received votes from us but didn't make the ranking. Judd had the Buccaneers with a vote, and Declan had the Chargers with a vote. So there is your current.
The Bucs were off,
rankings.
but they're 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, I debated keeping them on there too with the bye, but I just figured I'd put someone else.
I thought about Jacksonville as well. Yeah. So yeah. The end of this list remains incredibly fluid, and Dallas I couldn't drop out. That's a terrible loss, but I still think that they're a top 10 team in this league.
Yeah, they just got shellacked by the team that's probably going to win the Super Bowl.
It's going to happen.
Here's something about the Seahawks. The Seahawks are currently 10th in the NFL in net yards per play. So yards per play gained compared to yards per play given up. So by that measurement, they are one of the top 10 teams. And the Falcons are actually 11th on that list, which we mentioned earlier. So there's a couple sneaky teams that no one really considers that are banging on the door here. I would say the Saints, too, at 3-2 are an interesting one, just beating the brakes off the Patriots.
Are we sleeping on the fact that Seattle might have pulled one of the greatest moves of all time? Which, by the way, I was all for getting Russell Wilson.
I was too.
So just to be very clear here, I'm not. But I mean, we're not. I feel like it should be much more of a national story that this quarterback who is just great gets traded to the Broncos, has been absolutely putrid for the most part.
Yeah.
Geno Smith, who was just a washout, comes in, and in that trade, Seattle got a ton back from Denver.
Well, dude, look at this list of teams here, okay? And we'll get to where the Vikings rank. It's just for anyone that's paralyzed with fear of, oh my God, what's going to happen when the Vikings finally move on from Kirk Cousins? Be careful what you wish for, right? Well, there's a lot of things that go into this. This is what we've been saying. Build a roster, but they should build a roster around Kirk. Well, it's really hard. They had one when they signed him back in 2018. But once you commit that much capital to a quarterback over that many years, and then you start to compound by whiffing on some draft picks, it just becomes like an untenable situation. So these teams on this list, our current top 10 teams, the San Francisco 49ers are quarterbacked by a 7th-round draft pick, but they have an amazing car, right? The Chiefs moved up 17 picks while having Alex Smith to get their quarterback back 6 years ago. The Eagles moved off a top 5 overall pick in Carson Wentz, drafting Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round, and away they effing go, right? Dolphins landing Tua high up, okay. Bills with Josh Allen, he wasn't like the number 1 pick, right? Wasn't he closer to 10th in that draft?
And there were some significant growing pains when he entered the league.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Took him 2 or 3 years.
Big time question marks with accuracy.
The Lions punted and traded Matthew Stafford to the Rams, brought in Jared Goff, and Jared Goff is a really good quarterback. Ravens took Lamar Jackson at the end of the 1st round. Yeah. Cowboys took Dak Prescott in the 4th round. Seahawks moved off Russell Wilson for Geno Smith, and they're better.
Which we
and
thought
the Jaguars
was crazy.
got Trevor Lawrence with the number 1 overall pick. But there's a lot of ways to build a playoff team here that don't involve paying a non-top 5 quarterback. I get the Cousins cap hit is low this year, but look at all the different paths to being a top 10 team in the NFL, you know?
Infrastructure, baby. Infrastructure. That's where it starts.
Yep. So with that, I still have the Vikings 18th. Being a homer. They just keep losing these close games.
Yeah.
Judd has them 22nd, Declan 24th. So we're all between 18 and 24 with where we have the Minnesota Vikings. So that's our pigskin pecking order. Can we have Judd rank or guess the PFF grades here before we say goodbye?
Okay.
Are you ready
Absolutely.
for this?
Yep, I'm ready.
Mentally? This is where we pit Judd's long time accumulation of eye test knowledge watching football up against the Pro Football Focus video scouts, analytical scouts. So we're going to start with offense. We're looking for the 3 best players from that game against the Chiefs and the 3 worst players as graded by PFF. You get 3 total strikes to guess these 6 players.
All right.
You can start wherever you want to.
I'm going to start at the bottom of the list this time because I think it's going to be more fun to try and guess the bottom of the list. And I think I don't have all 3 in mind, but I have 2 of the 3 in mind that I think definitely will PFF themselves right to the F grades. I'm going to say both the tight ends have to be. TJ Hawkinson dropped at least 2, if not 3 flat out drops. And Josh Oliver starts the game with a fumble, which I'm guessing penalizes him pretty drastically. And he also missed a ball. And he also missed a ball that went basically through his hands. Yeah. Like the tight end drops were really mind-boggling, especially in front of Travis Kelce.
Starts hot. Those are the 2 worst graded players offensively for the Vikings. Josh Oliver was the worst. TJ Hawkinson was the 2nd worst. Wow.
All right, I'm going to take another guess at a bottom 3 guy, just because I feel like he had one of his best games in ages against Carolina, a really dominant performance. But I think there were enough things, including his the PI he got called for on Valdez-Scantling, which you could actually, once I saw the replay, debate, but it's going to penalize him. Harrison Smith, bottom 3?
We're on offense here. Offense.
Yeah, stick on offense, Judd.
Oh, I thought we did both on.
We're going offense, and then we'll go defense. We're
I
on
thought I was
offense
just
right now.
trying to get. Offensive line, I feel like they actually played pretty well. Alexander Madison.
Madison was kind of middle of the pack. Did not have a great game. Was kind of got dinged in pass protection in his 7 pass pro snaps. Okay. He was a 61. By the way, the tight ends were Oliver was a 39 out of 100, and Hawkinson was a 49 out of 100.
Higher than I thought he would be. Boy. Okay. So, all right, I'll take one more guess. Offensively, KJ Osborne.
KJ Osborne. He was so close on this. He was the 5th worst graded player for the Vikings at 57 out of 100.
All right, so I got one more guess left.
And you can go to the top of the list too if you want to take
All
a
right.
stab.
It's not as much fun, but I will. I feel like the offensive line had a really solid game for the most part. So I'm gonna guess Christian Darrisaw.
Christian Darrisaw is the highest graded player for the Vikings in this game. 88 grade out of 100.
It's my left tackle.
Christian Darrisaw allowed only 1 pressure in this game. Pretty good.
That's really good.
Pretty good.
All right, so I'm looking for another top 3. Jefferson, no. Osborne, obviously, no. Running backs, all right, I'm just going to stay on the line. Ezra Cleveland playing alongside Darrisaw.
Ezra Cleveland was the third highest graded player in this game. So you have one guess left to get. You have 2 players left to get on offense here. One of the top 3 and then one of the bottom 3.
I honest to God, besides offensive line, actually, you know what? No. Jordan Addison.
Jordan
Top 3.
Addison.
Top 3. He had a good game. Real good game.
Jordan Addison did have a good game, 71 out of 100, but it did not crack the top 3.
Offensive line, probably. Then.
So Garrett Bradbury was the second highest graded player on offense at
I always
82.
said that was a great re-signing. Always said that.
And the 3rd worst graded player in this game, I think for the first time ever since we've been doing this, Justin Jefferson was in the bottom 3 in this game.
Dropped a pass.
He had a drop, and they didn't love his game, I guess, PFF in this one. So on the offensive line side, Ed Ingram was pretty high up here. He was the 5th highest graded player. Kirk Cousins was the 4th highest graded player because he's never the main problem. Never the main problem. Hang the banner. Okay, on the defensive side, same drill. You already guessed Harrison Smith. Would you like to run that one back?
Yep. Bottom 3, though.
Harrison Smith. He was not in the bottom 3.
Ah, boy. Who else sucked on Sunday defensively? I feel like the defense actually didn't have, but they gave up some big plays, but I feel like against the Chiefs, it wasn't an embarrassment by any means. Caleb Evans, bottom 3.
Caleb Evans. 62 out of 100 for a Caleb.
All right, I got one left. Let's go to the top. Let's go to the top of that list. Let's be positive.
It's hard to know what you're seeing with that defense sometimes unless you go back and watch the all 22. It's
Danielle Hunter, top 3.
Danielle Hunter did not crack the top 3. This is a tough
Oh,
one.
come on.
This was a weird.
Danielle Hunter was actually the 5th lowest graded player. Here's the top. Now I will say this: only one player that played more than 20 snaps was actually well graded in this game on defense, and it was Jordan Hicks. He was a 90 out of 100 in this game. He was all over the place. You could trade him, yes.
Deal him.
And then Harrison Smith was actually Dean Lowry was the 2nd highest graded player, 66. And Harrison Smith was the 3rd highest graded player, but a 62 out of 100 grade. So not a great game for him. But at the bottom, the 3 worst graded players were Josh Metellus, a 48 out of 100, Marcus Davenport, a 49, and Byron Murphy Jr., a 50 out of 100. So there it is. Judd guesses the PFF grades here.
Hey, what?
Good effort.
Off of that one, what is Byron Murphy Jr.'s season grade now? How's he trending?
Let's pull up the season grades here for your Minnesota Vikings. At the quarter pole, or actually kind of the third of a season poll. The math is weird
now with 17. They screwed it up.
So on defense for the season, let's go guys who've played at least 100 snaps. The 3 best graded players are Ivan Pace, Jordan Hicks, and Cam Bynum. And the 3 worst graded players are Byron Murphy Jr., Dean Lowry, and Patrick Jones, who's been awful. Patrick Jones, 29 of 100 this season.
Byron Murphy Jr.'s third from last?
He's been a disaster.
He stinks. I don't think it's
Oh
bad.
my God.
It's not good.
That was
We could talk more about that maybe this week.
I feel like that needs a focus. I've not heard nearly enough about that. I didn't realize it was that bad. Let's hammer that one.
Their cornerbacks in general, like Mekhi Blackman, has not been great, but he's not been.
But he's a kid.
Yep.
And
then Caleb Evans has actually been pretty solid.
There's not supposed to be patience with Byron Murphy Jr. He was one of your main free agent signings, if not your main one.
Yeah, no, it's
wow.
It's true. So hey, our friends over at 3 Jack are cooking up some amazing food for you guys, the Purple Daily and Score North audience. We've been there several times. It's a blast every single time, Declan. 3 Jack.
Yeah, it's a great spot in the North Loop. Of course, you can host events there. You can get your swings in there. A lot of great stuff. In fact, Purple Daily audience, there's a Purple Daily special with our friends, at 3 Jack. You get one free pint, easy for me to say, per person with the purchase of any food item to guess who mentioned that they heard 3 Jack on Purple Daily. So if you do stop into 3 Jack, maybe you're looking a little pregame spot before a Twins playoff game, head on over to 3 Jack, tell them about Purple Daily. You want the Purple Daily special, one free pint per person with the purchase of any food item to guess who mentions that they heard 3 Jack on Purple Daily. So when you support our audience, it supports us as well. So go check out our friends at 3 Jack in the North Loop.
And our favorite van is out there roaming around, just looking for electrical systems to fix.
That's not how it works.
It's like an ice cream truck.
No, they don't. No, Cody Finch and his team at Finch Home Solutions don't drive around aimlessly because you know what? They always have a mission to help you. If you have an electrical problem, that van is going to show up in front of your house, and they are going to save the day. 612-357-2604. It's right on the van, as is their website, the new and improved FinchHomeSolutions.com. Look, Finch is going to take care of problems like you might need an outlet installed. It might be that simple. Guess what? Finch is going to do it fast, efficient, courteous. They're outstanding. You might need your entire home rewired. Guess what? Finch is going to do that as well. There's nothing that Finch Home Solutions from an electrical standpoint can't do. Winter is coming. Guess what that means, boys? Hot tub season, right? A lot of people are like, it's time for the hot tub. It's time to get that hot tub installed. But don't forget, when you get a hot tub installed, there are electrical issues, of course, that have to be safely handled. Finch Home Solutions will do that. Again, 612-357-2604, FinchHomeSolutions.com. Cody and his team, they love 2 things. They love the purple, and they love making sure that your home is safe.
They love chewing bubble gum and making sure your home is safe, and they're all out of bubble gum at Finch Home Solutions.
It's hot tub season. It's hot tub season, and people up right now are like, I got to get a hot tub. What's the first step? Got to get the electronics done.
Yeah. Do you guys think, just one last question to end the show here, do you think they actually sell off meaningful pieces in the next 3 weeks?
Yes.
I think the odds are now far high. I think Justin Jefferson, if he didn't get hurt, I think the answer is no. I think the odds now increase a lot with meaningful pieces of guys who are going to stand to walk. Again, I'm not going to predict a Cousins trade. There's just a lot, the no trade clause. He'd have to learn a new system. I'm not saying teams wouldn't like him. I just think that is the, if there is a calculus to this, Cousins trading him is calculus. But Ezra Cleveland, Danielle Hunter, KJ Osborne, yes, if they go to different teams, they have to learn, but it's not nearly as much. And so, yeah, I think the odds increase greatly now that for sure through the trade deadline, because don't forget, 4 games is 5 weeks, right? Chicago week, San Francisco week, Green Bay week, the buys in there, correct?
Isn't the bye?
Eventually.
No,
The bye might be
is
December.
after. It's
Yeah.
after.
So the deadline passes. But anyway, yes, I do think that there's a far better chance that they sell. That's right. I forget the bye's not till like December. God, is that going to feel like a lifetime for this group?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think the answer is yes. I actually really like your Ezra Cleveland thought. And Ezra Cleveland's having the best year of his career, but I don't think they're in a position to pay big money for a guard in free agency here. And
he wants to play tackle, I think.
Yeah.
So he's not coming back here. There's no place to play here.
You could probably get a decent, maybe a second day pick from a desperate team. Maybe that might be aggressive, but I like your idea of trading Ezra Cleveland, moving Dalton Reisner in there, and just seeing what happens. So
I'm just trying to figure out why Dalton's here.
He's here for a reason. He's not going to sit.
It's like
Roadhouse.
Or is Dalton?
Don't play guard until it's time to play guard.
Football.
I'll let you know.
All right, wow, an hour-long episode on this Tuesday here. Daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. If you're on the Twins bandwagon, we will hit you guys. We're all going to be at Target Field today on this this beautiful day for a Twins playoff game. So we will hit you with an episode of the Score North Twin Show later on, probably an hour after the game. So keep an eye on that too. And thanks for hanging out with us here on Purple Daily.